What could be inspiring these thousands of fans to rise to their feet and roar out their appreciation? Your first guess might be some sort of sporting event with brilliantly executed plays. Well, that guess wouldn't be far off the mark. But this particular audience is watching a drum and bugle corps competition. And this is what turns on a drum corps crowd. And this, and this, and this. This is what makes modern-day drum corps an event that draws spectators and competitors alike from all corners of the United States and Canada, often to attend contests thousands of miles from home. Maybe you haven't seen a drum corps perform for several years, or maybe you've only seen them in hometown parades or on television. You may not realize how modern-day drum corps competition has evolved into a combination sport and art form that gives crowds something to really get excited about. At one time, not so many years ago, drum corps looked a lot like military bands. The chance to make their performances unique and more exciting was restricted by rigid rules, by the kinds of instruments they were allowed to use, and by the small numbers of kids involved. Precision, not entertainment, was the main goal. You can see things have changed. The corps are bigger, the instruments more sophisticated. But the biggest change is in the concept of show design. Like the 27th Lancers of Revere, Massachusetts, corps are using excellent and varied music as the vehicle by which the show designers plan the performance. And what a performance it is. An integrated package designed to create mood and impact through musical, visual, and percussive climaxes. A total show to tease all the senses of the audience and to challenge the performers to the limits of their abilities. Audiences are pleased with another change. It's the increasing variety among corps. The 27th Lancers have retained a somewhat military flavor, but the Blue Devils of Concord, California, who have won 2 consecutive drum corps international championships, based their shows on big band jazz. The best corps feature almost any kind of music the crowd could ask for, from the classics to current pop tunes and rock. Now you're getting the picture. A modern drum corps show combines the best of musical and stage entertainment to present an audio-visual extravaganza overflowing with variety, excitement, and audience appeal. And underneath it all, there's a striving for perfection, the precision that sets drum corps apart. Enough to excite any audience, isn't it? A far cry from what many people visualize when they hear the words drum corps. Sometimes it's hard to remember that a drum corps is, first and foremost, just a bunch of average kids doing what they like best. How did they get so good? Well, like any other high-caliber competitive activity, it takes time. It takes hard work and dedication. Just like professional athletes, corps members have to get in shape and build their stamina. But unlike most athletes, these are not necessarily physically superior youth. Corps members come in a wide assortment, fat or skinny, tall or short, graceful or with two left feet. Some even overcome physical or mental handicaps to participate. The only common trait is their desire to excel. Then there are hours and hours of rehearsal. Like football, where the offense, the defense, and the special teams perfect their plays, the various sections of the corps must learn their portions of the show to perfection. The bugles, the drum line, the color guard, all must learn to perform or handle their equipment without an error before the parts can be combined into a smooth-flowing and entertaining show. Then everyone must learn to march, not just to stay in step and to arrive at the right spot at the right time, but to do it with pride, with snap, with style, identical to that of 127 others, and with that special sparkle and brilliance that makes the audience come alive. Precision is still the mark of an excellent corps. We've glimpsed the changes in the show concept over the past few years, the more diversified drill, the musically and visually superior programming. But given a dozen corps with equally entertaining programs, precision will separate the champion from the runners-up. And on the night of the contest, several judges will evaluate the music, marching, and overall program of each corps. So the members work hard to eliminate every conceivable error, perfecting what they can do alone in order to perfect what they can do together. Many have no musical experience or training at all when they join the corps. Some have been members since the age of 9 or 10, first in the Cadet Corps, sponsored by most corps organizations as a training ground for younger members. Then, from ages 14 to 21, in the internationally competitive corps. Year after year, they practice twice a week, with a weekend-long practice once a month, working on the same 13-minute show all year long.
When I first joined the Corps, I thought I'd hate all the practice, but I really enjoyed it. It got to be a drag once in a while, but it's just like playing basketball or anything else. You really have to work at it to be a winner. When you have 128 people working towards the same goal, you're going to have a lot of good times. You can see the progress you're making. You're getting better, and it turns out to be, worth every bit of the work you go through.
In any nationally competitive team sport, a lot of coaches are needed to pull it all together and make things work. Drum Corps is no exception. As many as 20 instructors are needed to design a totally coordinated show, to instruct the 128 members to perform it flawlessly, and to see that the program operates without a hitch. Music writers and arrangers, drill designers, and several instructors, each for drums, bugles, color guard, and marching techniques, all get into the act. Like pro football coaches, each is a specialist in his own field. But unlike coaches, most are paid barely enough to meet their expenses. Some are paid nothing at all. Yet they arrive, day after day, week after week, not only to instruct the members, but to serve as counselors and sometimes parents. They find themselves dispensing leadership training and discipline right along with musical knowledge. And what's in it for them? Usually, they say, only the satisfaction of seeing the kids mature as individuals and improve as performers. Most drum corps take pride in nurturing tomorrow's instructors among today's members. Many instructors are Corps alumni who stayed on to teach after they graduated from the Corps at the ripe old age of 21, the upper limit for marching members of Junior Corps.
4 for nothing
Others
again.
who are not Corps alumni also instruct.
1,
They'll come long distances,
1, 2,
even across the
3,
country,
4,
just because they love music and working with kids, and because there's a chance that maybe this year or next they'll have a hand in producing the winning corps. But to have that winning corps, you have to go places, lots of places, to compete against the best. A top drum corps summer schedule makes a pro football team's travels look like weekend trips to grandma's. In a typical summer, a corps might be on tour for 5 weeks, with as many as 5 contests per week. For the rest of the summer, they take it easy. 2 or 3 shows a weekend nearer home, with rehearsals every day in between. One corps schedule for a single summer followed this diagram, and this was by no means an unusual year. No matter where else a corps may tour, all roads converge each August on the site of the Drum Corps International Championship. In 1977, they came from these 27 states and provinces to Denver, Colorado for the big event.
Until I joined the Corps, I really hadn't been away from home. Now I've been all over the United States and Canada, and I love it. Drum Corps has given me a chance to see all parts of the country, the East Coast, and this year to the West Coast, and to meet all kinds of people. That's another thing about the Corps. You don't just travel around. You really get to know the kids from all over, in other Corps.
Start time. March.
With the new look of Drum Corps, the extensive travel involved, well, it must cost a lot. You bet it does. The capital investment for a typical nationally known corps might run around $300,000 or more for uniforms, drums, bugles, flags and rifles, for 3 motor coaches, 3 school buses for the cadet corps, a huge tractor trailer, and a smaller truck to carry equipment for the 2 corps, a couple of vans for staff, or for carrying souvenir items to be sold at the shows. And if the Corps is lucky, for their headquarters to house it all. The annual expenses might run another $120,000, or even more, if the Corps travels most of the summer. That's a lot of money. But a Corps can earn as much as 1/3 of its annual budget by doing what it does best, performing. Prize money or appearance fees go right back into the treasury, helping to make it possible for the Corps to continue to travel, perform, even to exist.
Okay, good rehearsal. Let's go out and play a good show now.
Most corps also host a contest in their hometown, benefiting both themselves and the other corps that compete. The guest corps collect their appearance fees, and the rest of the proceeds from ticket sales go right back into the coffers of the host corps. But even with the earnings from appearances and ticket sales, $50, $70, even $80,000 remains to be raised each year, somehow. Corps members usually contribute a little in the form of dues or membership fees if they're financially able, but not much. The rest is raised through a mind-boggling array of fundraising projects, large and small. Drum Corps members and the adults who support them have been known to sell almost anything, ranging from programs to pizza. Much of the work is done by adult volunteers. Not only the parents of members, but many others in the community who just enjoy the activity and the kids involved. They do it because they love it, and because they believe the young people in their town need the challenge and the guidance that Drum Corps can provide. Some raise money by spearheading a variety of projects, by traveling with the Corps to sell T-shirts and other souvenirs bearing the Corps emblem, and by urging local businesses and organizations to contribute. Others donate their labors. They'll save the Corps money by cooking inexpensive and nutritious meals for the kids at training camps or on the road, or by mending uniforms, printing news bulletins, maintaining equipment and instruments, or driving buses. Whitey Meyer is one of these volunteers. He drives trucks for a living. Then he drives some more for the Drum Corps.
Back him in. You're going to have to make a tight swing, but that's all right. We'll back him in.
He says he likes kids, and he says it's fun. Whitey and 7 or 8 other drivers on a tour nursed 4 buses over 20,000 miles of road in one summer. Consider the tour he drove in 1977. 10 shows in 10 days in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Canada, Michigan, where losing even a couple of hours on a schedule like that was crucial. His Corps survived bus breakdowns in New Jersey, Boston, and Toronto.
I make a decent living. And there's stuff that I do for the Corps that my boss, if I did it for him, he thought I was nuts. You know, in fact, I'd get kicked out of the union probably.
In any one corps, literally hundreds of adults are involved, from the board of directors to those who may be members of the booster club. Director Bob Lindman of the Phantom Regiment says the value of volunteer help goes far beyond economic savings.
The way we do it is quite different in some cases than the way a lot of other people do it. We don't rely on outside help or a lot of hired hands to do the work. We do it all ourselves with parents or with volunteers. We have a lot of people that work with the Corps that have no children involved and maybe never have had. If you had all the money in the world to run something like this, you still would not necessarily be able to make a success of it. It takes the people, and it takes people that are interested and willing enough to give a little extra effort in that, working with the kids.
So a lot of hard work and a lot of dollars go into the making of a drum corps. Is it worth it? Ask any Corps member, and the answer will be yes, for a number of reasons. Of course, just like any competitive sport, there's the thrill of winning, of hearing it announced to the world that you're the very best. But what if you don't win?
Winning is pretty nice. It's no fun to go out there and work your butt off 12 hours a day for a week and find out that you lost, but you have to learn to deal with it. Winning, of course, is more fun than losing, but it's not everything. The first thing I'm here for is to enjoy myself. I think everybody else is the same way. And if winning comes on the way to enjoying yourself, then that's great.
Far beyond the glory, the trophies, and even beyond the fun, are other, more enduring reasons for drum corps participation. They're as varied and individual as the kids themselves.
The best part for me, I suppose, is the closeness to other people in the Corps. It's like having a lot of brothers and sisters. In school, for example, you tend to pick your friends who are pretty much the same as you, and same interests and same backgrounds and so on. In Corps, though, there's a lot of different kinds of people. After you work together and practically live together all summer on the road, and celebrate your victories together and suffer the defeats as one, you become closer than friends. It's more like a giant family.
I was as fat as I am now. I'm an obese type person, and I wasn't very good in sports. And I was musically inclined. My father was in drum corps, so that was an added influence. So I got in drum corps, and as I say, I caught the bug. I'm much more at ease when I'm speaking. I'm not as shy as I used to be. When I first joined Corps, I was very quiet and very shy. As years got along, I got more responsibility, so I had to overcome my shyness in order to carry out my responsibilities.
And it's worth it to the adults who give up spare time and sleep, sometimes even their vacations, to work with the Corps.
I don't have any kids of my own, but some friends got me involved in Corps as a volunteer a few years ago. And maybe, at times, I shortchange other aspects of my life because I spend too much time working for the Corps, but it's worth it. Right now, we have 6 out-of-town members who live at our house, and it's just a ball. Now I have kids, not just the ones who live with us, but all the others I know in the Corps. My involvement with Corps has made me 10 years younger and one heck of a lot happier. I wouldn't give it up for anything.
Corps members, like their parents, understand the training and discipline that goes along with the drum corps. But how do they feel about it?
The things I've learned through drum corps in the past few years will make me a better person through life. I've learned that you are not satisfied with yourself just doing things once. You push yourself further and further for a second, a third time. You're not satisfied with a sloppy performance either. There are a lot of people out there counting on you. You can't let them down. You're out there to do it over and over again until you do it right.
And then you do it again and again. And you do it better than right, better than even you thought you could. And that's what makes it all worth it to the thousands who flock to see the show, as well as to the performers.
This year's vacation is to Denver to see the DCI championships. And my parents are just nuts about it, and they really weren't until I got into it. They follow us everywhere, and they decided to make it a vacation to go out west to see us.
Oh, the crowd. we thrive on the crowd. I mean, if the crowd is enough, I don't feel like, you know, we're doing a good show. If the crowd really applauds and everything, then I feel like I got to do better and make them stand up and jump out of the stand.
Crowds from Boston to Seattle and in hundreds of other cities across North America will have plenty to cheer about this drum corps season. The corps seem to get better and the competition tougher each year. Best of all, each corps has its own style. Sit back and listen. They're all winners. Always a threat to win any contest are the California-based Santa Clara Vanguard. They've twice won the international championship and have never placed lower than third. Innovative is the best word to describe the Bridgemen of Bayonne, New Jersey. They love to entertain. Their show features a little bit of Broadway, a few surprises, and lots of showmanship. The Phantom Regiment of Rockford, Illinois has one of the top color guards in the business. Their flags and rifles lend visual support to a classical music style that really has audiences cheering. Horn lines provide some of the most thrilling moments in a drum corps show as a wall of sound slams into an audience. Nobody does it better than the Madison Scouts of Madison, Wisconsin. Drum and Bugle Corps. You might say it's a very special love affair between thousands of performers, instructors, parents, and volunteers, and the crowd in the stands in that unique, wonderful, slightly crazy society known as Drum Corps. They call themselves the Drum Corps Nuts. Perhaps there'll be a drum corps in your area this summer. Perhaps there's already one in your town. Take a look. Get involved. Who knows? Someday you just might be a drum corps nut yourself.